Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear students, today we are going to start with chapter number 9, Business Communication Skills of Secretary. As of now, we are done with 4 chapters: Secretary, Joint Stock Company, Formation of a Company, Documents related to formation of a company. That means, as of now, we have seen what is Joint Stock Company, how it is formed, what documents is required for formation, and what position secretary holds in an organization. So now today, business communication skills of secretary. In this chapter we are going to see why it is needed for a secretary to communicate. What is communication all about? We are going to see today. See, in this we are going to discuss today 4 topics, that is, what is business communication, types of communication, methods of communication, and merits of written communication. See, before starting with the main topic, let us see the word communication. The word communication is derived from Latin term communis, which means common. Now, communication is something which is common, which everyone, all of us, we do. We communicate, we talk with each other, whether in the form of writing, whether in the form of showing symbols, or whether speaking with each other, right? So now communication is something which is common. Now, whatever is common is shared by all. So now communication simply derived from the Latin term communis, which means something that is common. Now see here, George R. Terry defines communication as: communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by 2 or more persons. That means communication is nothing but exchanging. Exchanging means, sharing with the other person, and sharing is in both the ways, by both the persons. So yes, communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, whatever ideas you have, your opinions, your emotions by 2 or more persons. Now coming to the main part, your main topic is business communication. See, the word itself says the communication, the sharing of facts, ideas, informations, everything related to business. Now see, what is the meaning for business communication? See, business communication is a branch of general communication which is especially concerned with business activities. Now here, when I say business communication, it is a branch of general communication first of all. Secondly, it is concerned with business activities. Now, whatever communication, whatever talks a person is doing related to business is termed as business communication. Now, it can be anything. It can be related to sales, it can be related to purchase, the communication between 2 departments in a joint stock company. There are many examples for this. So basically, communication which is concerned with business activities. Now see, when communication takes place among business entities between 2 businesses concerning business affairs or business related issues, business works or business related issues, it is known as business communication. When 2 companies, when 2 entities, when 2 businessmen, they discuss something or the other about business affairs or any business related issues, it is known as business communication. Now see, business communication, the definition is here. Brenner defines business communication is the expression, how you try to express what? Channeling, receiving and interchanging of ideas in commerce and industry. So now, whatever thoughts, whatever ideas you have, you try to channelize it, you try to put it in a proper manner by communicating. Then receiving and interchanging of ideas, you try to communicate your ideas, your plans in commerce and industry, that is in your business. See here in the image you can see you discuss the facts, you discuss productivity, you try to have a teamwork among the members by proper communication, that is by talking. You try to discuss the plan, you try to communicate on the people in your company, your strategies and your ideas. So that is channeling, receiving and interchanging of ideas in commerce and industry, that is in your business. Now see, we are going to see types of communication. There are two types of communication. First is internal communication, second external communication. Now internally within the firm, the word itself says internally, that is within the firm. See, internal communication refers to the communication that takes place internally between various departments of an organization. That means all those communications which is done inside your company, inside your own business, internally between the departments is known as internal communication. See, internal communication is important because it supports the managerial functions. See, to communicate internally is very important. See, without communicating, you cannot convey your ideas, your plans, your strategies to the subordinate or different departments. So yes, communication supports managerial functions. Then coming to the other part is external communication. External communication refers to the communication that takes place between business organizations and outsiders like banks, suppliers, creditors, government, etc. Here it means that if let's assume there is an XYZ joint stock company. So when this company is communicating, as having a conversation with any of the bank managers or any of the government servants or any other creditor of the company, that would come under external communication. And if in any of the joint stock company, when an employee is talking to a manager, that is internal communication, that is inside that same firm, same company. Okay, now see here, external communication connects an enterprise to the outside environment. Government, bank, creditors, they are the outsiders to the joint stock company, so that comes under external communication. Okay, see, types of communication: internal communication, external communication. When communication is within a joint stock company, that is internal communication. When the communication of joint stock company is there with government, banks or any creditors, outsiders, that is external communication. Now coming to the third topic in this chapter is methods of communication. Very important. See here, methods of communication refer to the path, the way you try to convey whatever you want to, through which the message passes from one person to the other. That means if I want to speak or if I want to say anything to the other person, which path I choose, whether I choose to speak, whether I choose to draw a diagram and show, whether I choose to use my gestures, that is showing any signs with your hands. So there are many ways of communication. So we are going to see these methods. Now see here in the example it's given, there are two: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal means you try to write it. Secondly, you try to speak. Third, you try to visualize, you try to show. and non-verbal means without speaking, just signs. Coming to the very first method is verbal, or I can say oral communication. See, in the process of this communication, that is verbal communication, conveying a message in spoken form is known as verbal or oral communication. Whenever I try to speak, that communication will come under oral or verbal communication. Here you can see in the example, speeches. When a person is standing and giving a speech, it's a verbal communication. When the two persons are having talk with each other, one to one, face conversation they are having, that is personal talks. Secondly, when a person is talking on telephone or phone, this is again comes under verbal, that is oral communication. And lastly, the interviews which are conducted, okay, the person is sitting and there are the other members questioning, that is talking to the person. This all are the examples of verbal communication. Coming to the second one is non-verbal communication. See, non-verbal communication is defined as communication that involves neither written nor spoken words. Now, there are no written words, no spoken words. That means body language. If I'm sitting idle, see the expressions here. This lady is bored. The other person is interested to speak. So now this body language also speaks. Secondly, see this hand gestures. Okay, you can see it's like you give a like sign, you try to show peace, you try to direct the other person, right? You try to use your fingers to express what you want to. So these comes under hand gestures. Then you have got, most importantly, facial expressions. Here neither you are speaking nor you are writing, but then still you are trying to communicate, you are trying to talk about your emotions. You can see the different faces showing happiness, confusion, sadness, the surprise, anger and the excitement. These are the facial expressions through which a person communicates, which comes under non-verbal communication. Then you have got signs and symbols. You can see this is a sign for medical, and the other sign shows that here it's a no smoking area where you cannot smoke. See, sign is a language on its own and it is used to communicate something to the people. It is a broader term and symbol comes under it. Signs and symbols are, mostly a same thing. Then comes written communication. Written communication we all know. See, when exchange of information, when you try to communicate, when you try to pass on the information or ideas in a written form rather than by spoken words, it is known as written communication. When you don't speak but then you write it and you give it to the other person, that is written communication. See, examples of written communication are notice boards, memos, email, fax, text, Facebook, letters, reports, newspapers, website and PowerPoint presentation. So these are the few examples of written communication, how a person try to communicate, express the ideas, suggestions in writing. Now, what are the merits of written communication? We are going to see one by one. There are 8 merits of written communication. See, accurate and precise. You can reread many times. Permanent record, documentary evidence, wide access, no need for personal contact, completeness and economical. We are going to see each one in detail. See, accurate and precise. Accurate means correct and precise means with no error, that is correct and error free. See, written communication is usually drafted, is written with great care. Since written communication is open to verification and its authenticity, correctness can be easily challenged, the communicator has to be accurate and factual. Now see, whatever it is written on the paper can be checked whenever want, right? Authenticity, correctness can be checked whatever want. So the person who's trying to communicate, who's trying to writes with great care and with great concern. The person who's writing makes sure everything written is correct, it's factual and it's accurate. Therefore, in written communication, there is an insistence on greater accuracy and preciseness. So now we can say that whatever that is written is to the maximum extent is correct up to the writer's knowledge. Then the second one is reread many a times. See, once the words are spoken out, you cannot get them back. But when you're trying to have a written communication, you can read that paper as many times as you want. See, the receiver of a written communication can go over the message at any time again in the future. Whenever you want to, see what the other person is telling through the letter, you can take out the letter, you can read it as many times as you want. See, the person can read till he thinks he has properly understood it. Then the third point you have got is as permanent record. Whatever that is written is a kind of permanent record. Your electricity bill, it's a written communication, a written message which is given by Torrent Power Office to you that you have got your bill for the respective month and for so and so amount. You pay the bill and you keep the bill as a record, as a permanent record. See, written communication becomes a permanent record of the organization and can prove very useful for further, or I can say future reference. See, those electricity bills are kept safe. So as and when you want to say that yes, you have paid the bill, you can show the receipt, the return communication thing. So it acts as a permanent record. Then you have got documentary evidence, very important. See, written communication is acceptable as a legal document and as legal evidence also. See, many a times when you go to open your bank account or something, they say get a copy of your paid electricity bill. It's a kind of evidence which proves that you are a resident of so and so city, and yes, that proves your residential address. So yes, it acts as a documentary evidence also. Then you have got white access. See here, written communication is a best channel of communication for conveying information to persons living at different places. The best example is newspaper. It has got a wide access. In whichever part you are of the state or of that country, you have got the access to the newspaper. These days we use e-newspapers as well. So I can say whenever it's in written, it has got a wide access. Wide access means greater reach. Then you have got no need of personal contact. See here, the best example is an invitation. When you receive an invitation, here it is not necessary for both the parties to be available at the time of communication. It is because under this form of communication, message can be sent to the concerned person which can be read when the receiver gets spare time. That is sending a letter or an invitation. It's not necessary for the other person to be there. Yes, you drop the invitation, you send the letter, and the receiver reads whenever receiver gets time. So yes, No need for personal contact in this communication. Then the seventh point you have got is completeness. Now see, when we are having a conversation verbally, that is, we are talking, we are speaking, there are many chances of, trying to forget what we are actually trying to convey. We forget to say something, we forget few words, few informations to convey. But then when we are writing a letter, we are trying to write each and everything, particularly providing the information correctly. The very first point which we saw, accurateness. See, written message are prepared with perfect knowledge of the things concerning the matter. So there is completeness in the message. Whenever you try to convey something, you convey properly when you are writing it to the other person. And coming to the last part is economical. Economical means it's kind of cheap. Now see, if the receiver of the message is at a far away place, then this method is economical, as postal and courier charges are quite nominal. See, the charges for sending the letters are quite nominal, which is like affordable by every person. Sending a letter, the charges are quite nominal. But nowadays, email are more popular method of writing communication. Now these days, letters are sent through emails, and which is cheapest and the best mode of sending something to the other person. So here, with this we come to an end of what are the advantages of written communication. Okay, now further we are going to see how secretary try to write letters to the concerned authorities. Okay, thank you. That's all for today, class.